Alrighty then. Looks like I'm ready. Now, this piece of wood right here is going to be a sword. Now, because it's going to be a sword, it can't look like this. Hold on, let me sketch real quick. So I have flipped it over, sanded it. This is the other side. Flipped it over, sanded it, so it's smooth, so I won't get a splinter when I run my hand across it. And now we're going to sketch on it. Normally, I would like to measure out the middle first. However, I think I'll just mark it rough middle. Work from there. That actually looks like middle. Right there, that looks like middle. Huh. Interesting. So at the moment, you guys can already tell this is a sword, but it's actually from something. And it'll be quite apparent once I show you the drawing that accompanies this specific blade. So this piece of wood is a 52-inch piece of wood. And it comes up to about my collarbone. And this is going to be from blade to pommel down here. Can you guess what sword goes from blade to pommel in video games? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I am making the Warden sword from For Honor. Except I am making a Viking version. And this says Warden of Valhalla. This is going to be the first build video that I do among many others, so stay tuned and I'll give you guys updates. Peace. Well, it turns out, back by popular demand of one of my friends, that I should probably film the entire building of this weapon. So it looks like I'm going to be doing that. So this is part 2. So I've already defined the tip shape of the actual sword, at least in pencil. So I'm going to use this bad boy. And we're going to get to some work. Okay, so it has come to my immediate attention that I'm going to actually have to cut this out first, because it's going to be a pain. It's going to be a real pain to not cut it out. So that's my mistake. I probably should have figured that out already. And mostly because the jigsaw blade is broken, I'm going to have to use a handsaw, so I'm not going to show you that, because that's going to take forever. Alright, first side cut. Gotta get onto this one now. Alrighty then, we have a big fucking problem. So I picked out this wood because of its length, but what I didn't expect is for it to split like this. So I have two choices. I can either glue it back up with wood glue and continue, or get another piece. I think I'm going to take the wood glue option. However, though, against my better judgment, I'm actually going to define the tip now. Now, I know this is probably an idiotic move. Trust me, I understand. However, it's a lot easier to do it now than to do it later. That's fun to take nails real quick. Well, I've got some good news. Even though it is split, you can still see the split right here. Even though it is split, it did grind pretty well. Tip's pretty defined. it's a nice shape. Yeah, I think I'm going to continue with this. I think it's a good idea to continue using this piece of wood and just glue it up. So that's going to be the end of this video, because I don't have the time to do anything else. But hey, stick around for part 3. Welcome to part 3 of the Warden build. Now, as you can see, I've glued up that area that you saw last time that cracked. I've made sure that it goes all the way down and a tiny bit past the previous crack to keep it from splitting again. This is not a guarantee, but I'm at the very least hoping that it will help in the long run. Now, let's get straight into it. Alright, so I found a flood lamp. This is going to be a little bit easier. So this line right here is at the 11-inch mark. Now, from the study that I did, because I did a tiny bit of research before this, broadswords, or at least the German longsword that the Warden sword is made out of, usually have from a 6 to 11-inch handle. So this is marked at 11 inches because I want to be at the end of that threshold. So let's design the hilt. So I kind of want just like a rough sketch. I can change it later. It's not going to be all that hard to change it later. But I want kind of a rounded taper. So it's going to come out, gain a bit of thickness, and then come in to the guard. Obviously a rough sketch, as you can see, but in the grand scheme of things, I think I can improve on this. Alright, so I've kind of refined it. I've gone with this specific shape. I like the rounded off points that are going to add as a sort of grip. I know this probably isn't the proper way to make a handle, and this design probably isn't going to work. However, shut up. It's my drawing, and it's my creation. So there's nothing you can do. All joking aside, to be honest, I do think this design is going to work out good. It's got a tapered top, and it's got a nice curve to it, as well as place to hold. It's not going to be this small, obviously. It's not going to be this thin, but that is just the rough shape of what I'm going for. Sorry that this build is going slow. Now I'm going to grind off most of this. Alright, so this is one hell of a jump cut. Now, it is nighttime at the moment. So, what I've done so far is the entire fuller. I've done the fuller, made sure that the tang is prominent. It is about an 11-inch tang. I think it's a tiny bit longer, just to put in case of the guard, but hey, this is what I'm out to, so thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next parts. Here is part 4 of the Warden build. Now, as you can see, I have the template out for the guard. Now, I'm going to be cutting it out of this piece of wood right here. I don't remember what wood that was for. Well, I know what wood it was for. My friend wanted a... He wanted a gun. He wanted a gun made, a facsimile, to put in the back of his truck. That's no longer happening, but I'm still going to make the gun. If you guys want to see me make, or at least finish that build, let me know down in the comments. But in any case, I'm going to be using this to cut the guard out. I'm cutting it big just so I can get things going. So as you can see, I've gotten the rough shape out. This is the template I'm using. Now, as you can see, the piece of wood is considerably bigger than this part, and that's because I did not account for how big the actual blade was going to be. So it's going to sit nicely on the blade. I just have to now shape this. So let's get to that. Alright, so the guard is now shaped into its rough design. I've gotten them tapered out into this section out here. I think I might shorten this point to about here. I don't know yet, to like right about here, to make it a little bit more congruent, but this is just a rough shape. So I'll see you when I make any advancements. Alright, so again, I have messed up, unfortunately. So do you notice how in this section of the guard, right about there, this section right here, that it tapers into this point? It slowly goes down into that point without like actually shrinking, and then this point is higher than here on, and then this point right here is higher than this point on the guard. Well, I've made a rookie mistake and I have tapered it out. I have smoothed it out to this point. I was supposed to leave room up here so I could attach those points or even make them out of this solid piece. So I'm gonna have to fix it, but that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next parts and I hope to see you there. So this is part 5 of the Warden build. After much consideration, this isn't gonna work. There's a lot of reasons for that. So for one, there's a balancing issue. Now, if you can see it, you can clearly see it, because I did a horrible job. One side is a lot more smooth in that arc up than the other, and this side is bigger than this side. Now, it would be an easy fix, except for one problem. If I fixed that, then I wouldn't have any room to play with, and I kind of would be screwed. So instead of that, I used the good side as a template on both sides, just flipped it over, and now we're going to be using this piece. I'm sorry to see this one go, but I don't exactly have an option. I hate this so much. Now, in some people's opinion, they will try to tell you that this looks no better. However, as you can see, if I lay these flat, yeah, it looks 1,000 times better, to be honest, because it's taller, it's got a little bit more clearance, and the point isn't all wonky. I haven't made the point yet, so I think this is a better outcome than before, if you want me to perfectly be honest. Now, while I figure out how to cut the guard into the shape that I want, here's a little trick about getting this fuller into your blade, especially if it's wood. So what you're going to want to do is, first you're going to want to mark out your fuller. You're going to want to make sure that you measure it and do everything. But when you get to this side, because this is all marked out, when you get to this side, you see how there's these cuts in here? I'm using an angle grinder with a flap disc. I think it's a 60 grit. And basically all you really need to do is just mark out that section you want to cut with that, and then go over it with some type of tool that'll gouge out this, kind of like this. This is just a bit of sandpaper on a spindle and in a corded drill, and then I just run it along here to make that fuller. I know this part was a bit weird. I had to redesign a few things, but hey, check out part 6. Hopefully, I'll make some significant progress. See you guys later. Alright, another part to the welding build. Let's get to it now. Last time you guys saw me cut in this groove with an angle grinder. Now, like I said, cutting in the groove with an angle grinder is important so you can outline the groove. Now, the reason why you want to outline the groove is this. See, right about there, Right about here is where it slips out of the groove because it's not deep enough. But as I was running along it, you can see it is freshly done, super smooth, and it gets rid of all those gouge marks, and that's why you outline it. So I'll cut back to when I'm done with this. And after a bit of grinding and a bit of using a rounded off sanding wheel, or a rounded off sanding bar, both fullers, both sides, are done. They're really rough, but I'm thinking of leaving them like that because not all fullers in, medieval times were, really, really pristine. And, funnily enough, this is going to be a battle-hardened and tested weapon. So, I don't expect it to look pristine. So, if you guys remember from the last part, this was the redone guard. So this is the guard that has been redone. This is the guard that has been, refitted. And as you can see, it now has the protrusions that are going to be on it on both sides. I'm going to start filing and more or less just trying to get it to its final width. So I'll show a tiny bit of that, but not too much. Alright, so here's what's been done for today. I have gotten not only the guard cut out, and not only the sword beveled on both, the sword fullered on both sides, but the guard is now starting to take shape. As you can see, there's a rounded point here that protrudes out. These are beveled up here. Not that this is going to be the final bevel, but this is rounded out. And now what I'm going to do is mark out where the tang is going to go through the entire guard. This is the rough estimate of where it's going to go in the guard and all the way through. But unfortunately, that is all the time I have for today, and I don't have drill bits. So this project might be on hold until I get drill bits. Sorry guys, but hey, keep an eye out for the next parts. Another day, another part of the Warden build. Now, this is a big-ass piece of wood. As you can see, it's pretty long. I'm not redoing the sword. Actually, today I'm going to be doing the handle. Now, because I don't have any drills, because I don't have any type of tool that will allow me to drill through pieces of wood, I do not have the ability to make the full handle or the full guard. I need to go out and buy drills. No, drill bits. So this part might be a little bit short. It's going to be just me cutting out the handle, gluing it up, and then shaping the guard. So let's get directly to it. Alright, so we got our first piece out, and we have our second. So let's glue these up. Now for my preferred wood glue, I usually use this stuff. Gorilla Glue. Not sponsored, I just like Gorilla Glue. It works well. So, with that being said, get my toolbox out of the way. Let's do this. Now, I'm going to use this side because it's got a whole bunch of holes on it, so let's just get to it. Uh-oh. Didn't realize you could pull that all the way off. This is gonna get messy. I want this to be nice and tight so that when I do get because I'm getting a lathe in, I don't know if I'm going to show you that footage because I don't know how working with a lathe is going to be, but when I do get a lathe, it doesn't just fly off and brick me in the mouth. Alright, now that all the immature ones have decided to say their jokes in the comments about what that looks like, you can see that it's all glued up, both sides, top and bottom, and now we're going to get on to the guard. Making the guard for this kind of stuff is important, so as you can see, I have actually outlined where each bevel is going to go. So there is a bevel going all the way over here, it's going to slope down, this is going to be the point where both of these meet, and this is just the overhang, so let's get to it. First section done. I actually did a little bit of marks on this section just to display where the name of the sword is going to go that you saw in the picture. And now I'm going to do this side over here. And for this, I'm literally just using a file to do this. That's it. That's all it is. And at the end of it, you'll have a beautiful piece like this. Nice rounded, nice sharp corners. But thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more parts. Another day, another part of the Warden build. Now, let me show you what I've done so far. I forgot I needed to record what I'm doing. So as you can see, there's been a lot of work done on the bevel. As you can see, this front end of the bevel is completely done. It's at the halfway point, just by eye. I'm going to be getting it down as close as I can to that halfway point. Keep going. I've got the bevel started all the way down, almost to the bottom. So we're going to continue that. And as you saw in the last video, this is what the guard looks like. Nice, beautiful cut lines. Just mwah, absolutely beautiful. So let's get into the rest of this. Alrighty then, as you can see, this entire section of the blade, even the tip, has been beautifully ground out. It's been smoothed over. I'll do some more finishing work, but it goes all the way down to this portion. Stops right at about where this portion is. So I'm going to now do the other side. Oh, one more thing. When you're doing bevels like this, you want to mark out your bevel. Hold on. So you can make tools for this kind of stuff. This is just a piece of angled. This is just like a right angled piece. But you see there's holes in it. So all I've done is place it on the edge, place a pen in here, and mark wherever I wanted my bevel the closest in. It's actually in this hole right here at the very, very top of it. So you just run it along and you get this. Here's progress on this bevel. Looks pretty nice. You can still see some scratch marks from the file. And now I just got to continue it all the way down. Alright, now the entire blade is beveled on both sides. It goes all the way to the tip sharp on both sides. And now the thing I'm going to have to do in the next part is get rid of all these cracks. Probably put some wood filler in it. But guess what I got? Your boy's got drill bits. So this will be hollowed out, roughed out, and finished probably in the next 2 parts. But thanks everybody for watching. Keep an eye out for the next parts. And have a good rest of your night. See ya.